$55.7 million. That is what it cost to build the Pontiac Silverdome in 1975, the largest NFL stadium in America, the first major athletic facility in history with an air-pressurized roof, sitting on 132 acres north of Detroit in Pontiac, Michigan. For 27 seasons, it was the loudest, most distinctive dome in professional football. Pope John Paul II drew 93,682 people there, the largest crowd in the building's history. WrestleMania III drew 93,173. The Detroit Lions played there every single season and won almost nothing. In 2009, the city sold it at auction for $583,000, 1% of what it cost to build. Then in December 2017, they tried to blow it up. The charges went off, the smoke rose, and the Silverdome just stood there. This is not just a story about a stadium. It is a story about a city, a cursed football team, and a building that literally refused to die. For 37 years, the Detroit Lions shared Tiger Stadium with the city's baseball team. That arrangement, dating back to 1938, became untenable when Tigers owner John Fetzer made it clear the dual occupancy was coming to an end. The Lions needed a home of their own. Pontiac native and university architecture professor C. Don Davidson proposed a solution. Davidson looked at his struggling suburban hometown and saw an opportunity. He envisioned a massive modern arena modeled after the Roman Colosseum, designed to spark an economic revitalization. To fund this ambitious dream, the city of Pontiac took a massive financial gamble, backing a major public bond issue to raise the construction capital. Crews began excavation on September 19, 1973, launching a feverish 23-month construction sprint. On August 23, 1975, the stadium opened its doors for a preseason matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. The project was so rushed that the roof remained an unfinished patchwork quilt of fabric, allowing summer rain to soak the artificial turf as 62,094 fans watched the Lions secure a victory. Once completed, the defining feature was its pioneering canopy, a 430,000-square-foot sheet of Teflon-coated fiberglass, a material then considered highly advanced for large-scale engineering. To keep this massive roof aloft, 23 giant pressurization fans ran constantly, maintaining a positive interior air pressure of about 0.03 pounds per square inch, which required spectators to pass through specially designed revolving doors. With 80,311 seats, 7,300 club seats, and 102 luxury suites, this engineering marvel instantly became the largest venue in professional football, promising an era of unprecedented spectacle. In 1978, the Detroit Pistons moved in, beginning a 10-year residency that established the arena as a basketball powerhouse and hosted the 1979 NBA All-Star Game. On January 24, 1982, the venue hosted Super Bowl XVII, marking the first time the NFL's championship game was played in a cold-weather northern city. Inside, 81,270 spectators sat in comfort, while nearly 100 million television viewers watched the San Francisco 49ers defeat the Cincinnati Bengals 26-21. Pop culture spectacles reached their peak on March 29, 1987, when WrestleMania III drew acclaimed 93,173 fans to watch Hulk Hogan battle Andre the Giant. Later that year, on September 18th, Pope John Paul II celebrated a papal mass before 93,682 people, setting the venue's all-time indoor attendance record. In June 1994, the stadium hosted 4 matches during the FIFA World Cup. To pull this off, engineers laid a portable natural grass field directly over the AstroTurf, creating the first indoor playing surface in tournament history. Yet, this high-flying ambition was always at the mercy of the elements. On January 5, 1985, a severe blizzard dumped more than a foot of wet snow onto the fabric canopy. The immense weight ripped the Teflon panels, causing the entire roof to collapse into the empty bowl below. The structural failure forced emergency road games, while engineers rushed to install a replacement roof, this time reinforced with heavy steel girders. It was a cold warning that this giant monument was ultimately held up by nothing but AIR. Inside this pressurized bubble, the physical limits of the game were routinely rewritten by a single man. Sanders spent 10 seasons defying physics on the Silverdome's unforgiving AstroTurf, racking up 15,269 rushing yards. He ran with a breathtaking lateral agility that made him the most captivating player in football, steadily closing in on Walter Payton's all-time rushing record. But the brilliance on the field stood in stark contrast to the front office dysfunction surrounding him. The peak of this era arrived on January 5, 1992, when the Lions demolished the Dallas Cowboys 38-6 in a home playoff rout fueled by Sanders rushing for 160 yards. It was the loudest the Dome would ever get, the absolute pinnacle of noise under the Teflon roof. Yet the team could never build on that success, resulting in his ultimate failure to reach an NFC championship game. Frustrated by a persistent culture of losing, Sanders walked away from the sport at the height of his career. In July 1999, at just 31 years old, he announced his sudden retirement, leaving the franchise without its heartbeat and fans with a lingering sense of unfinished greatness. Without Sanders, the illusions of the Silverdome quickly evaporated. The final season in 2001 ended with a dismal 2-14 record, after which the team moved to Ford Field in downtown Detroit. The Lions left behind an empty 80,000-seat concrete cavern. Pontiac was left holding a tenantless stadium with millions of dollars in construction debt still on the books, turning a sports disappointment into a heavy civic consequence. With the Lions gone and the Pistons long departed, the Silverdome entered a prolonged era of operational survival. Management scrambled to fill the calendar, booking indoor soccer matches, short-lived minor league football games, monster truck rallies, and occasional concerts. None of these events generated enough revenue to offset the staggering cost of operating a massive 80,000-seat stadium. To save on utility costs, operators made a fateful decision in 2006 to deliberately deflate the air-supported fabric roof. The blowers were shut down and the canopy collapsed into the bowl. It was never reinflated. Left unpressurized, the sagging fabric became highly vulnerable to the harsh Michigan elements. Years of heavy snow and freezing winters tore the Teflon panels, allowing rain and snow to pour directly into the concrete bowl. Water pooled on the artificial turf, mold spread through the locker rooms, and the once pristine field rotted away under open skies. By 2009, the weight of this decaying monument dragged the city of Pontiac down with it. Facing a severe municipal financial crisis, Pontiac entered state-appointed emergency management. The idle stadium had transformed into the city's single most expensive liability, costing taxpayers $1.5 million a year in basic maintenance and security for a building that did absolutely nothing. In November 2009, the city of Pontiac put the Silverdome on the auction block. The winning bid came from Toronto-based Triple Properties, a company led by developer Andreas Apostolopoulos. His price was $583,000. Just 1 year earlier, the facility carried a valuation of $20 million. Now, it sold for about 1% of its original $55.7 million construction cost. A stadium built to hold 80,000 people was unloaded for roughly $7.25 per seat, less than the price of a single ticket to a high school playoff game. The transaction became a regional emblem of lost value and failed revival. Southeastern Michigan was reeling from the 2008 financial crisis and the painful era of the automotive bailout. Pontiac, desperate to shed its single most expensive municipal burden, chose immediate relief over long-term pride. Apostolopoulos announced ambitious redevelopment plans promising to transform the concrete giant into a major soccer venue, but those plans never materialized. Instead, the keys changed hands, the gates remained locked, and the Silverdome slipped further into private neglect. Under the new ownership, broken windows were left shattered, perimeter security was minimal, and the harsh Michigan winters continued their slow, quiet destruction of the concrete bowl. By 2013, the Silverdome had dissolved into a silent, cavernous ruin, becoming one of the most haunting symbols of the decade's fascination with urban decay. With the air pressurization fans long silenced and the Teflon canopy torn to shreds, the elements took complete ownership of the interior. During the harsh Michigan winters, lake-effect snow fell directly onto the 50-yard line, blanketing the field in a thick shroud of white. In one of the most surreal images of the era, wild, white-tailed deer wandered across the snow-covered AstroTurf, foraging where NFL athletes once broke records. Surrounding them, entire seating sections sat encased in solid sheets of ice, looking more like an Arctic glacier than a professional sports stadium. Deep inside the concrete skeleton, the decay was absolute. Water dripped continuously through a rotting press box where reporters once broadcasted Super Bowls. Down below, the locker rooms were completely stripped, leaving rusted metal stalls and mold-covered concrete. As these post-apocalyptic photographs circulated on early internet forums and went globally viral, the Silverdome became an international poster child for American industrial collapse. Yet, despite the public outcry, the city of Pontiac remained powerless. Having sold the property in a moment of fiscal desperation, municipal leaders had surrendered all regulatory leverage to a private owner who simply watched the monument freeze, rot, and melt under the open sky. The final chapter began in late 2017 when ownership transferred the 127-acre property to clear the ground for a future Amazon distribution project. To execute the massive teardown of the legendary stadium, the city brought in the Adamo Group, a Detroit-based demolition specialist. Their plan was to drop the stadium's massive 30,000-ton upper steel tension ring in a series of controlled explosions, marking the first phase of a complex 9 to 12-month demolition project. This was supposed to be a straightforward structural kill, a clean end to a building that had spent 40 years towering over Oakland County. On the freezing morning of December 3, 2017, hundreds of spectators lined the perimeter, shivering in the cold with their phone cameras raised. At 8:30 a.m., local and national news crews went live. The sirens wailed, the countdown reached zero, and a sequence of sharp detonations cracked through the valley. Puffs of gray smoke and bright orange flashes erupted along the stadium's concrete rim. Then, the smoke cleared. The dust settled. And the Silverdome just stood there, completely still, untouched, and utterly refusing to fall. Fox 2, Detroit anchors broadcasted the immediate, awkward silence, dryly noting that what was supposed to happen simply did not. Within minutes, the internet exploded with jokes and memes mocking the stadium. Local headlines and late-night shows immediately framed the botched implosion as the ultimate Detroit Lions move, a franchise so historically incapable of finishing a job that even its home stadium failed to collapse on schedule. The concrete giant, which had spent years as an embarrassing eyesore, had transitioned into a globally viral punchline, a stubborn monument that refused to quit. Behind the jokes, though, lay a dangerous engineering crisis. Approximately 10% of the explosive charges had failed to fire. 8 critical-shaped charges placed in key structural columns remained completely live and unexploded, leaving the secondary kicker charges powerless to bring down the massive ring on their own. Rick Cupitilli, executive vice president of Adamo Group, later suggested that a trespasser might have tripped a wire in the dark, or that security flashlights used during overnight checks had somehow disrupted the complex electrical circuits. This left the structurally compromised, top-heavy stadium in an incredibly unstable condition. With the support columns weakened but still upright, engineers warned that the concrete shell could collapse on its own at any second, creating an immediate, unpredictable hazard for the crowds of spectators still lingering around the safety fences. Demolition crews worked quickly to secure the site and rewire the remaining charges. The following afternoon, on December 4, 2017, at exactly 4 p.m., a second, quieter blast at last brought the stubborn steel ring crashing down in a cloud of dust. With the stadium's spine broken, hydraulic excavators and wrecking balls moved in, chipping away at the concrete skeleton day after day. The mechanical demolition continued through the winter, ultimately finishing the job in March 2018. In 2022, a 132-acre Amazon fulfillment center opened on the cleared footprint of the Silverdome. Where Pope John Paul II once celebrated Mass and Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant, workers now sort cardboard boxes and package delivery orders inside a sterile gray warehouse. For the city of Pontiac, the transition brought new industrial jobs, but did little to erase the deep financial scars. Long after the concrete was hauled away, local taxpayers continued to carry the legacy of the public debt that had anchored the stadium to this land in the first place. Yet for the football team that defined the venue, a different kind of clearing finally arrived. In 2024, the Detroit Lions broke their 32-year playoff drought, marching to their first-ever NFC Championship game. It was a triumph that arrived only after their former home was gone. Ultimately, the Silverdome stood as a strange monument to suburban ambition, a building that refused to fall for a team that, for 30 years, could never quite learn how to win. Today, an Amazon warehouse quietly occupies the ground where 80,000 people once roared. The Silverdome's stubborn refusal to fall on its first implosion remains its most honest moment, a defiant gasp of mid-century ambition refusing to be swept away. The grand civic spectacle is gone, replaced by the quiet grind of private logistics. What are your favorite Silverdome memories? Let us know below.